The look on her face that day, oh, I will never forget it. That frozen expression, the way her jaw dropped, eyes wide in disbelief as the doctor read out the results. It was pure, delicious justice. For once, it wasn't me. It wasn't my fault. It was victory. Sweet, long awaited victory. You see, for years, that woman made my life a living nightmare. My name is Philly, and my mother in law, God bless her wicked tongue, made it her life's mission to remind me that I was the barren one. Every insult, every whisper, every tear stained night, I endured it all. I've been married for 4 years, but to be honest, it feels like 40. From the moment I said I do, peace packed its bags and left my home. My husband, once so gentle and loving, turned cold, distant. His family poisoned his mind until he could no longer see me as his wife, only as a woman who failed him. It all began 6 months after our wedding. That afternoon, I was in the kitchen cooking egusi soup, humming softly, still believing in the fairy tale of marriage. Then he walked in, cleared his throat, and said the words that changed everything. My mother will be coming to live with us. I remember turning around, wiping my hands on my wrapper, and asking, live with us? As in she'll stay for a few days and go back. He didn't even look up. No, she'll be staying just like that. No discussion, no warning. I wasn't completely happy, but never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that my nightmares would begin the very day she moved in. It started subtly with little comments, suspicious glances, but 2 weeks later, everything exploded like thunder on a clear day. We were seated at the dining table, enjoying dinner. The air was calm, the clinking of cutlery the only sound. Then, out of nowhere, she dropped the question that would ruin the evening. So, she began, her eyes darting between us. What are your plans for children? My husband, ever gentle, smiled and replied, we're waiting a bit. She wants to finish her master's first before we start trying. I swear, it was as if a switch flipped in her head. What kind of nonsense decision is that? She exploded, her voice echoing through the dining room. You're waiting? So our master's degree is more important than giving me grandchildren? Her words sliced through me like a blade. I tried to explain, to reason, but the more we spoke, the more she raged, her voice rising, her face tightening, as if every word I said was fuel for her anger. That night was only the beginning. Weeks turned into months, and since no pregnancy came, she made me her personal target. Every visit, every family gathering, every quiet moment, she found a way to insult me, to remind me that I had failed. One that broke me came when we visited her daughter, who had just given birth. I was genuinely happy for her. As everyone rejoiced, I smiled and stretched out my hands to carry the new baby. And then, like lightning, my mother in law flew across the room, eyes blazing, and snatched the baby out of my arms. The entire room fell silent. Her voice cracked like a whip as she sneered, when you give birth to your own, you can use it to practice how to carry babies. I stood there frozen, my arms still in midair, shame and humiliation burning through me. That was the day I realized this wasn't just hatred, it was war. I looked at my husband, my supposed protector, as tears clouded my eyes. He said nothing, not a word, just sat there, giving me that same silent signal to calm down, when his mother had just shredded what was left of my dignity in front of everyone. My throat burned, my heart pounded, and before I could explode, I quietly picked up my bag and walked out. The moment the door closed behind me, I broke. I sat in the car trembling, too ashamed to even breathe properly. When he finally came out and we drove home, I turned to him, voice shaking. Why didn't you say anything? Why did you just sit there and watch your mother humiliate me? He sighed, eyes fixed on the road. But babe, why did you carry the baby when you know how mommy reacts? That question hit me like a slap. My chest tightened. Was I wrong for holding a baby? For celebrating with family? It wasn't the first time she had cut me down. I remember that family women's meeting, the laughter, the chatter until I tried to speak. My mother in law had turned sharply and said, I beg, allow those who have entered the labor room to talk. The room had gone silent. My smile froze. Everyone looked away. That night I cried out, bitter tears into my pillow, tears that tasted like shame and helplessness. I started visiting hospitals, one after another, tests upon tests. Every result came back the same. Nothing is wrong with you. One doctor gently suggested, Madam, maybe your husband should come for a test too. I told him. I begged him. But his mother thundered, there is nothing wrong with my son. It's you, you are the problem. Still, I kept trying. I prayed, I fasted, I swallowed herbs and hope. But with each passing month, the silence of my womb grew louder until one day I snapped. I couldn't take it anymore. I will never forget that afternoon. I was in the kitchen, stirring a pot of stew, when I heard whispers coming from the living room. My mother in law's voice, sharp and filled with venom, cut through the air like a blade. My son, you can't continue like this, she said. Get yourself a side chick, someone who can give you children. This one you married is just eating your food and wasting your time. My hands froze mid stir. For a moment, I thought I was hearing things. But then, my husband's low voice replied, Mama, calm down. That was it. Something snapped inside me. I walked straight into that living room, my heart pounding like a talking drum. So, this is what you both discussed behind my back? I said, my voice trembling with anger. My mother in law looked at me with that arrogant smirk. If you were a real woman, I wouldn't need to say it, she hissed. Oh, I saw red. All right, I said, since you believe I'm the problem, let's do a test. If the issue is from me, I'll leave this marriage myself. But if it's from your son, Mama, you will pack your things and leave my house. They both laughed, the kind of mocking laughter that burns into your bones. No problem, my she said, puffing her chest. We went to the hospital together. I insisted the doctor should read the results out loud. The tension in that room could have cracked glass. Then the doctor looked up, adjusted her glasses, and dropped the bombshell. Madam, you are perfectly fine. But, sir, your sperm count is extremely low. You could hear a pin drop. My mother in law's mouth hung open. My husband's face drained of all color. For a second, I didn't know whether to cry or scream. Then suddenly, I burst into laughter, loud, uncontrollable laughter that echoed through the doctor's office. So, after all your insults and accusations, it turns out you are the problem, I said, pointing at my husband. And Mama, should I call the driver to help you pack your bags? Or will you manage to carry your shame by yourself? Neither of them said a word. My husband stared at the floor. My mother in law clutched her handbag like it could save her. That was the day silence became their best language. From that day, everything changed. The house that once echoed with my mother in law's endless insults suddenly became as quiet as a graveyard. She could barely look me in the eye. My husband, oh, my dear husband, sank into shame and silence. The same man who used to boast around that I was the barren one now avoided me like a shadow. Weeks later, and I made my decision. I filed for a divorce. No tears, just peace. Sweet, calm, unapologetic peace. He begged, his mother cried, but it was too late. I had given enough. I walked away with my dignity intact and a smile that could light up the night. A year later, I met a kind man, gentle, respectful, everything my ex never was. We got married in a small, beautiful ceremony filled with laughter and love. And then The miracle happened. I got pregnant. Naturally, effortlessly, my baby bump grew as my joy overflowed. When I gave birth to a healthy baby boy, the news spread like wildfire. Everyone who had mocked me had no choice but to swallow their words. Meanwhile, my ex husband, still childless, his proud mother now spends her days moving from one prayer house to another, begging God for grandchildren.